everybody. Oh, wait, we lost Allie.
Oh. Of course. If it's
hilarious.
If it's not my kids, it's my dog. Oh my God.
If it's not my kids, it's Tchalla. And he's like crunching in the background and he's obsessed with my ring light. So if he does swoop in, you'll know that's why. Oh my God. Welcome to another Wind Down Wednesday, everybody. What is going on? First of all, let me just say, this does not happen often, but today was like almost perfect. Like we got a few podcast episodes recorded earlier today, me, Allie, and Chris. I had several video conference calls lined up, one after another, all very productive. My kids were amazing. They got baths. I jumped in the shower. I feel like fresh. We all ate dinner. Nobody stole food off of my plate.
Wow.
Where I don't even feel like I need wine. So I made tea. Like it was a good day.
Wow. Well, then I'll drink for you.
But I do have a bottle of La Crema just in case I decide to just go ahead and crack it open. But, you know, we were drinking this last week. They were so awesome to sponsor us and their wine is amazing. So shout out to La Crema. Visit them at lacrema.com. First of all, how was your day? Because you came early, ready on time earlier for the podcast. I'm always on CPT, y'all. When it comes to recording podcasts, when I'm home, it's just hard. And poor Allie was like waiting for like 30 minutes for me.
Ready to go.
Terrible.
You know what it is though? Like my years in radio where everything is by the second, like you have exactly 3 seconds to speak or, you know, so I've been so time focused that it's actually almost a problem because my husband gets so frustrated how I like run life to the minute. Like everything is scheduled to a T and we have to be exactly on time, preferably a little bit early. You know, so it's not great.
That is goals. And you have 2 kids and you make it happen. I'm always like, oh my God, I think because I'm working from home, I'm always one tick slower. If I know I have to leave the house, I'm a little bit better about being on time. But I do want to just move over to these comments real quick and just say hi to everybody. We have Ian, Venice. EM said, cute dog, Allie. Oh, Jeannie, love my skin. Venice said this is her first time here. I just started a mom series on my page. Hello. We're all about collaboration at Not for Lazy Moms. So if you have Instagram, just like reach out to us, tag us when you post content. We do like to repost a lot. So listen, this is all what the community is about. It's about sharing and all of us benefiting from each other's platform and just helping each other. So that's what it's all about.
Definitely.
You said, wow, Monique, today was a good day. It really was. Like, if you can, I feel so relaxed right now. Like,
I can tell. I'm feeling your vibes right now. Like, you're giving off, like, just, you're very chill. I feel like you're going to get a good night's sleep tonight, too.
Yes, as soon as I'm done my tea, I'm drinking rose and chamomile. So I have a rose tea and I mixed it with a bag of chamomile and it's so good. And my kids are in the kitchen right now. I even let them stay up past their bedtime. I said, look, they wanted tea. So I said, go ahead and drink your tea. When y'all are done, head up to bed and I'll come up and give y'all a hug and a kiss as soon as I'm done my live. And they were like, okay, mommy, I don't know what is going on in this today because it never goes like this.
Take it. I will take it. Right before we jumped on this, I had like, my husband probably thought I was like an animal in our pantry. I don't know if you've ever done this. So like I will buy treats for myself and hide them from my kids. Like these are mine. Like I hide them from Matt. I hide them from me. And it's a bag of chocolate chips. And Matt he buys his own bag of chocolate chips. I buy my own bag of chocolate chips. And I hid it so well that I cannot find it anywhere. Like I have been looking everywhere for this bag of chocolate chips. So I was almost late to this live looking for it.
Oh my God. Did you find it?
No, I'm convinced that Matt hid it from me just to mess with me. Like,
Oh, that's messed up. You
I
don't
know, and I'm 5 feet tall, so I'm sure it's on like the tallest shelf where I can't see anything, and
you don't hide mama snacks. That's something you don't do. You learn that in pregnancy. You do not mess with a pregnant woman's food. You will get your neck chewed off.
Yes.
And oh my God. Oh my goodness. So Christina said, nothing wrong with some tea. Yes. Tonight is just one of those tea kind of nights. Like I'm like, normally it's like, oh my God, I've had such a long day. I'm stressed. Let me drink some wine. And I just feel so like zen right now. I'm like, I meditated earlier. I just feel one with nature and one with God. I'm like, listen, I'm not even going to put the poison in today. I'm just going to
feel like you're going to go outside tonight and like rescue a squirrel or a deer again. Like you're just feeling.
That's how I feel. I'm in one of those vibes right now. Although Tchalla, I think he's starting to figure out when I'm preparing him for a bath, because he's supposed to get wet every day in order for his feathers to stay healthy. So I think now he's picking up on the little cues. So I think when he sees me grab his heater and then I'm like, come on, Tchalla, he's like, oh no, she's about to make me get wet. I'm not here for it. This bird flew all around the upstairs of my house. I'm chasing him like a maniac. Like, Tchalla, crashes and falls into the tub. He made a big circle.
Oh my God.
Falls into the tub. I go to pick him up. Then he flies out of my hand and like literally flies right into the shower, which was hilarious because that's not where he wanted to be. The water was on. He was pissed. But I was like, good. You ended up where you were supposed to be anyway. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So listen, last week we left off with talking about growing older. I got a little emotional. I was not expecting that. I started thinking about a friend who I lost several years ago. Wow, it's been like 13 years. And I can share with you the story and why I got so emotional. So this friend, there was 4 of us. Me and her were the bookends. We were the tallest. We were always on the end when we took pictures. And then my other 2 friends, Anisha and Shani, were the ones in the middle. So we all grew up together in Pleasantville. We were like the team. And we made a vow after we graduated high school that we would always get together at least once a year to see each other and hang out. And we did that. Her final year, we actually got together probably like 4 times that year, which was a blessing in disguise. She came to visit me and Chris on our property out in Newburgh in Southern Maryland, which if people watch the show, that's where we took our all cash trip. We had 4-wheelers back then, and it was her first time riding a 4-wheeler. And she actually rode it without my knowledge. Cause usually, and if anybody wants to ride it, I will always like, give them a tutorial, and then they actually have to sign a waiver because, we don't want any liability for any accidents happening. Well, she didn't do that. She jumped on without my knowledge, and she ended up having a bad accident. She actually went headfirst into a tree. So yeah, it was the most crazy situation I ever been in my life. At the time we were 24, and it was so bad. I sprinted out my front door. Where she was probably 100 yards out. It was like far. I'm running. I get to her and I can see that it's bad, but I didn't want her to hear me react like in such shock. So I was just like, you're okay. You're okay. I just kept telling her she was okay. I grabbed her hands. I encouraged her. We had the ambulance come. Shock trauma came. They swooped down and they took her to a hospital in Baltimore. So long story short, she did not survive. And that was very hard for Chris and I. At the time we were dating. We weren't even married. And it turned into one bad incident, which was I lost my best friend, into her family deciding that they after them reassuring me that no, we understood that this was a pure accident. And they reassured that, we understand what happened. It's not your fault. 2 weeks after the funeral, which Chris paid for, and then I paid for the repast, her family decided to try to sue Chris. which made me feel even more terrible because I'm like, whoa, this is my friend. Chris and I were dating. So it was just a crazy situation. But that's, when you think about things in terms of time, as someone who I've known since I was in third grade, someone who was supposed to be a bridesmaid in my wedding, someone who my kids were supposed to know and, call her auntie, and we lost her. So when I think about how young we were at that moment, that's when I was like, whoa, life is short. You never know when you're going to take your last breath. You never know. But what I will say is that final day, that whole weekend when we spent together, it was all of us back together. Only one of my friends couldn't make it. And we had the most fun. We had such a good time. We hug on each other all the time. We tell each other that we loved each other all the time. That's just what we did normally. That morning, she woke up and made everybody breakfast. And I was like, you know what? If this is how she had to leave, which was surrounded by her best friends, her sisters, I was like, thank you, God, for giving us that moment. But you never know when you'll take your last breath. So when we were talking about growing older, I got so emotional because, I'm 37 now. That could have been me. I was really wild when it came to riding four-wheelers. I mean, I'm like going 50 miles an hour, flying up in the air, like doing all kind of craziness because I love outside toys like that. Not anymore. I have not been on a four-wheeler since, actually. But then when I look at how her accident happened, she wasn't even going that fast, and I look at life like, wow, it's really like a vapor. It was really just a crazy situation. And then all the things that happened after the fact were even more crazy. And, so I just say to people out there, love the ones that you have, hug them, squeeze them, tell them all the time that you love them. And just never take life for granted. Like I say that, I mean that. As soon as that accident happened, I immediately went out and got a life insurance policy on myself so that my family would be able to have the funds and the means to not only bury me, but to have something for themselves as well. Because at that time, my mom and I actually owned a house together. We had an investment property, and I was like, oh my God, if something like that happened to me, this would all be on my mom. So let me be responsible and have those tough conversations. Chris and I have a last will and testament. We have trust set up. We make sure that we have those hard talks. Mm-hmm. And I always encourage people to do the same thing, especially young growing families. As soon as you get married, that should be one of the first things that you do. As soon as you start having kids, that should be one of the first things that you do. So at least if some tragedy does happen, you don't have to then strain your family with the financial burden on top of the emotional burden. And then they make choices that will end up ruining the friendship, with the whole, like, I'm going to sue you.
I mean, first off, Monique, like, I'm so sorry you had to go through that. I mean, that's just completely heartbreaking, and I'm so sorry. You're so right about, life is short. It's unpredictable. Like, you need to be prepared. And it's sad because grief and loss can, destroy relationships. I mean, when my dad like unexpectedly passed, and he didn't have a will. And so his estate was a complete cluster. He just had a life insurance policy that he left to me and my sister. It destroyed. I mean, I don't speak to his former wife. Like, I don't speak to my stepmom anymore because of it. I mean, it can destroy relationships.
Wow. It really does. It's always, every time there is a funeral, I mean, that's when the most tension comes out. It's like you have some people that are really mourning, but then you have people that are unfortunately looking like, oh, well, what can I get? And if you don't have it laid out in advance, like you'll really strap your family and, and cause tension that you don't mean to cause. It just happens. It's sad.
You have to be prepared. You have to you have to know the passwords to every single bill that you owe and things like, it's just every little detail of money being involved in your life. You and your partner have to have a spreadsheet and a will and all of that. Yes.
All of that. And also just, so when it comes to handling anything that deals with the houses, paying the bills, repairs, all of those things. I made sure when I first started working for Chris and we had been dating for about a year. and he had a real estate development project that he was working on. You know what? Wait, let me answer Venice real quick before I get into this conversation, because I think this is going to really help some people that are listening. She said, wow, I would love to have a sit down with you and talk about these things. My fiance and I had our very first daughter, our first daughter very young, and we could never find people to give us advice. You know what? Because of this, we're definitely going to do a podcast about generational wealth. That's what we'll call it. I'm gonna write this down right now. And I will see if my estate planner will come on as a guest. If she can't, I will find somebody that can, because I can give you everything that Chris and I have done, but there's so many ways, there's so many options that you can prepare yourself. And I want to make sure I have a professional that can give us all of those options. But when I started working for Chris, it was when we had been dating for a year. At that time, we've known each other for probably 4 or 5 years. We had been dating for a year, and his team wanted me to come on because they knew that I was very organized. I was an executive assistant for a law firm, 2 law firms at one point. And so he knew that I had what it took to keep everything organized and be like that assistant or whatever. So I came in. That led to me being his business manager. And one thing I told Chris is that everything that I know, once I get everything organized, I'm going to make it so easy that all you have to do is pick up a binder and you'll know exactly how to get to whatever you need to get to. And I told him, I said, I can do this for you, but you need to know how to do it as well. And I'm going to make sure that it's so easy that you'll be able to handle it, because I don't ever want us to be in a position where we don't want to be together anymore, but you feel like you have to stay with me because I know how to handle all your stuff. So I just told him straight up, I said, you need to know how to do this. And he was like, okay, I totally agree 100%. And that's what we did. I wanted him to be in control and feel like confident in me to handle everything. And that's how our business relationship began. And to this day, that's how we operate. But Chris knows where everything is. If something were to happen to me, he knows how to take over and operate, you know. And even though people might look and say, oh, well, Chris, you know, he had this career and he has, you know, financial wealth and these things, I still have a last will and testament and a life insurance policy that will go to Chris so that he can have immediate funds if he needs to hire whoever he needs to hire right away. One thing about having wealth doesn't mean that you just have $1 million sitting in your bank account. It's tied up in investments. It's tied up in stocks. It's tied up in government bonds and mutual funds and everything else. That is not money that you just snatch out right away, because what will happen is you'll take a hit. You'll take a penalty that you have to pay to get cash right away. So those are some of the things that people may not think about. You know, just make sure you're structured, and having, you know, other investments, having several streams of income is very important. But you have to also remember that if you need cash right away, you have to have a strategy in place. So, yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah.
Great advice.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just said that's great advice. I was actually trying to, someone wrote something. Do you see Naima? Her comment? She says she's 24, not married or have kids, but she's learning so much from the podcast.
Oh, awesome. I don't even see that comment, but
it's great.
Comments coming in. This is awesome.
And that's the thing. It's like, yes, it's called Not for Lazy Moms, but really it's for everybody.
It really is. I was actually speaking to a gentleman today who said that he really enjoys the fact that we have the podcast available on YouTube. He said when he knew it was just a podcast, he never would subscribe or listen, because he's like, oh, I'm not a mom. You know, I don't have kids. I'm not a mom. So he didn't think that he would get anything from it. But he said he stumbled upon the YouTube page. And when he actually just watched the video, he was like, oh, my God, I was taking things away from this that could help me at work, that could help me prepare myself for one day when I do want to have kids. And he was very excited about it. And I was like, awesome. This is great. Okay, I see Naima. Yes, thank you so much. And that is what it's all about. And I told him maybe in the future, one day we'll rebrand, but most of our podcasts are talking about so much more than parenthood. It's real life, you know? So yes. I was scrolling. I saw I saw a comment where that was. Jeannie said, my mom and dad had all these things ironed out when they got married. He passed unexpectedly. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. And everything was smooth because they pre-planned. Yes, it's all about that preparation. And sometimes it is hard for some people to think about having that conversation. Like, who wants to just sit around and plan their death, you know? But the only thing guaranteed in life is death.
Yeah. And honestly, I mean, Monique, you know, I'm a super emotional person. My husband is very pragmatic about everything. And he's the one who kind of planned our meeting with the estate planner. And he said to me going into it, he said, you need to take emotion out of this and just, you know, be emotionless in this situation. We need to be realistic and smart about it. And that helped. And I definitely cried a little after because it was just like, you're right. It's like, who wants to talk about it? Who wants to plan it? But, you know, you're doing it for who you leave behind. So, yeah.
Yes. No, I'm sorry. I got excited for a second because this is Jay. This is the young man I was just talking about.
Oh, really?
What's up, Jay? Thanks for watching again tonight. Yes, and I think also that people think because they're young that they should not worry about getting life insurance, but that's actually the time to do it. Mm-hmm. I got my life insurance policy when I was 24. Do you know how much I had to pay per month at 24? I was only paying like $10 a month because I was young. Mm-hmm. And my policy will last for forever, you know? Mm-hmm. So if you do it, the younger you are, the less expensive it'll be. If you can't afford it and your parents can, maybe say, look, mom, dad, I want to be responsible. I'm 25 years old. I want to get a life insurance policy, but it's not in my budget right now. But if I get it, can you pay it? And then later on, I'll pay it back. Or, you know, it's going to go to them anyway, possibly if something were to happen while you were young. Who knows? But I'm telling you, if you do it while you're young, or just tell your parents to take one out on you, just make sure that they're not shady parents. You don't want anybody taking a policy out on you, and then they're like, you know what? I need that right now. I don't like you that much. Yes. So, and there are life insurance policies that actually will allow you to invest, and then after retirement, you can pull from it. So, just FYI. These conversations are so hard in Black families. You are absolutely right. I don't know what it is about our community when it comes to generational wealth and leaving something to our kids and grandkids and all of that. I'm not going to say who, because I don't want to put this person on blast. But someone in my family, I could not believe it when these words came out of this person's mouth. When we were talking about life insurance, and this person is older, and this person said, why would I spend money on a life insurance policy that's going to go to other people when I die? What difference does it make? And I was just baffled. I was like, wow, how selfish. Yeah. I just couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, but it's not just money going to other people. It's helping those people that are going to be the ones prepare for your funeral and your burial and making sure you're flat. It costs on average like $20,000 to have a funeral.
Yep.
On average.
I know. They're incredibly expensive. I could not believe it. I'm like, I remember the checks I'd have to write. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is insane. And it's one of the highest markups you'll ever have in your life because they know that you're mourning and they're going to jack up the prices on everything. I actually have a friend who owns a funeral home. And thank God when my friend passed away, she was able to give me everything at cost. And when I saw the difference between how much it actually cost versus how much was being charged, not to me, but in normal circumstances, I could not believe the markup. It was astronomical.
Oh, yeah.
So, thank God, you know, we had that hookup. And yes, I am wearing a Tchalla hoodie.
I love it. That looks great.
Yes. So, it is a lot. So just think about those things, you know, if you have young kids, set them up, you know, set them up, get them a 529, the college, you know, it's like a trust for college. All of my kids have one. My guide kids, I got my goddaughter one when she was born, and you just add a little money in every day, and you figure over 18 years, that money is going to grow, So every year we put a little something in it. And then by the time they reach college age, God forbid something happens to me and Chris, and we're not going to just leave them with all this money. They're going to have a plan, like you'll get this while you're in college. And then, you're not just going, no, we're not going to do that. So yes. So what else would y'all like to talk about? I don't want to, I'm like, this was not the plan for this episode. It just kind of fell in, but I'm glad we're talking about it because y'all just gave me an idea for a podcast episode. One thing, somebody kept asking about essential oils for, I saw it like twice.
I saw it too. Yeah.
Here you go. What oils do you recommend for mental health? So that's a tricky one because there's different oils that work for different things. If you're talking about like ADD or ADHD or anything like that, we use lavender because that is calming. I have a friend whose son will go to school, and I suggested that she use lavender. I told her to rub it across his forehead and the back of his neck before he leaves for school. I sent her a bottle, and her teacher, the son's teacher, noticed before she even mentioned it to the teacher. And the teacher told her, I don't know what you did different, but keep doing it because he was so much better today. He was much calmer. He was able to focus better. So it just kind of depends on what mental health issues you're speaking about. So I don't want to just like throw oils out there and not, no details and, so, okay. On future podcasts, will you update us on your birth stories for Chase and Jake? I love your birth stories of the other kids. Oh my God, that is such a good idea.
We should birth stories part 2.
I'm writing it down.
We need to do that. Oh man.
And I spoke to a lady today who we're going to do a podcast on just specifically C-sections.
Oh, cool.
Okay. And we started talking. We were on for a totally different reason. We are trying to do some local partnerships with the government with Not for Lazy Moms. So we were on this call and we just started talking about C-sections. And I've never had one. And she just laid out some things that I just had no idea about. And she said, I wish someone could have at least prepared me with all these details. Mm-hmm. And then maybe I would have been able to deal with it a little bit better, this and the other. And I thought that was amazing. So we're definitely going to do a podcast on C-sections, when it happens, what all is involved, and then recovery. So yeah, these are some great.
And I feel like we should do a myth buster about it because there's like a stigma that's ridiculous behind C-sections too, that makes you, scared of the idea, when the doctor suggests it, of what that means.
And then also one point that she made that I thought was pretty spot on was that if she had known how long her labor would have ended up based off of what the doctors were telling her, she would have gotten the C-section a lot sooner versus laboring for 30 hours and then getting the C-section. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Yep. So let's see. Someone said something about Love Harper Hunter. Hello. I'm curious what my fellow Not for Lazy Moms have been up to throughout the pandemic. Let's hear the positive stories. Also, de-stressing techniques aside from wine. So actually, we talked about a lot of this pandemic stuff last week. We were trying our best to just like turn these negatives into positives. We spent a lot of time outside. I know, Allie, you talked about that as well. Being outdoors was probably one of the best things for us, getting that natural vitamin D, being out in the sun, and just enjoying our kids outside, outdoors. They're wore out from getting all that fresh air. Nice hot bath bed,
Yeah, I totally agree. My son, my almost 5-year-old, he became like just in love with nature, in love with picking up bugs and holding them up and, you know, looking at tadpoles and stuff. And to me, it was amazing. I mean, what a fantastic free activity just to, I have the All Trails app, which is awesome if you don't have it. It's free and it will tell you different types of trails in your area and things that you might see, you know, if you want to go bird watching or look for frogs. And it's just really cool. Yeah.
Yes, that's awesome. So Love Harper, if you watch our last week episode, well, we went like really into detail about a lot of things that we did during quarantine. It was a great episode. So definitely check that out. But I use this time to be super productive in my business, in my family. We started doing family meditations. Just, you know, trying to take the stress away because it's scary for us when we hear about COVID. So imagine how scary it is for our kids. And a lot of times they may not express and just come right out and say, hey, mommy, I'm scared because people are talking about this virus. They'll just start acting out. They'll start getting extra clingy. They'll start having nightmares. So just remembering that they're stressed out too, and just trying to figure out ways to break that wall down so that they can be more expressive and then feel a little more safe in their environment. So we definitely did a lot of that.
Yeah, I feel like, and it's so hard to explain because I feel like everybody's navigating it and trying to figure out their own rules and their own comfort levels, you know? So for my son, you know, my oldest, it's like, okay, you couldn't hug grandma for, you know, 6.5 months. Okay, now you can, you know, go up to her and give her a hug, but you know, masks are involved. Like, it's such a complicated situation that we do need to be extra sensitive because they're like, what the F is happening right now? So, and you're right, they may not communicate that, but they might be acting out, and that could probably be why.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Ricardo, hi. After we see part of the Redefine Me live show on Sundays RHOP, will you upload the entire show on here? Absolutely. I already have it scheduled. It's going to upload at 9 p.m. on our YouTube channel. I would definitely let everyone know several times on social media and have the link as well available. The entire show. So it's a 2-hour show, but let me tell you, I watched it twice. I didn't even remember how life-changing that event was. And especially for me, because I was going through so much at that time. It was so good. Like, it was so good. I watched it because I had to edit it. Unfortunately, we lost the edited version of the full show, the one that looks all nice and professional. So the hard drive was stolen from the videographer, along with a lot of his other equipment. So I had to, thank God that day we went live on Facebook. So I was able to copy it from the Facebook page. And then I just edited the beginning and the ending and made sure everything lined up. And I had to pull the audio and lay it on top of the visual. And I was feeling myself the other day because I was like, yo, I did this.
It was amazing. Yes.
Thank you.
Like, I do not know how you did that.
Oh my God. But we made it work, but you'll get it. It's clear. It'll not only be on our YouTube page, but on Tuesdays when we release new podcasts, Tuesday, it will be on the Audible version on the podcast platform as well. So I'm really excited about it. It was so good. It was so good. We talked about so much, but everything was a gem. It was really amazing. It was really amazing.
It was a really cool day.
And let me just say, the podcast we did the Redefine Me exactly 1 week before I found out that I had a complaint filed against me for the altercation. So when the podcast happened, I left feeling rejuvenated and just ready to go and excited. And then a week later, it was like, bam, here's some more crap. It was a crazy time, y'all. It was a crazy time. Yes, I'm scrolling. If you see,
we are on Spotify. Yes, someone just asked.
Okay, awesome. Let's see. So yeah, I know one of the other questions we got last week. People wanted to know, how do you ask for help, and how do you get help before you get to the point where you're completely overwhelmed and on edge. Now, for me, I've always made it very clear and I've always put out there that I am such a control freak. I'm OCD. I am a particular person. I am a perfectionist. So it's very hard for me to ask for help. But over the years, I have learned how to ask for help when I need it. I've learned how to delegate responsibilities. I've learned how to be more clear in my delivery. And I've grown in that area. So asking for help now is not a challenge. And actually, Chris and I have been in marriage counseling for God knows how long. We're always in marriage counseling, but we actually talked about this in our last marriage counseling session because I did not realize how hard it was for me to ask my husband for help and just say it, and he's looking like, if you need something, just ask me. And I'm just like, nope. I just feel like, nope, I got it. I'm not asking you for anything. But I can ask like my assistant or, like I can ask those people for different things, but I never even realized that was hard for me. Mm-hmm. And I was always of the mindset that, well, he should just know or he should just offer. But sometimes that's not fair, because that's a lot of pressure on men, especially when they see us performing and doing things to the level that we do it when it comes to being a mom and everything else. Sometimes they just kind of step back and just like, okay, well, she has it. So let me just like get out her way.
Right. Well, because I mean, we need to be, my husband always says, he's like, you can't have these secret expectations set up here and not communicate them. He's like, if you need help, and there are times I will totally own it where I'm very passive aggressive with my requesting help. Like I'll just, I'll kind of mention it in a flustered, anxious way where he's like, look, if you need me to do something, if you need me to walk the dog or, pick up Sam from school, like whatever it is, just tell me. Don't be passive aggressive about it. Don't get all anxious and feel rushed. Like just talk about it. Right. I think we build it up in our minds so much sometimes that we create this situation where really it's like, it's not that big a deal, you know?
Yes, no, you're absolutely right. And I know I've been guilty of that on several occasions. And then it just gets so frustrating that you just explode. And then they're looking at you like, why didn't you just ask?
Right.
Oh my God. But it's so much easier said than done. But I literally just told my husband before I got on this live, after having that session yesterday, today, I just said, I got some things I need to get done. And he just was like, okay, I got you. And he helped me to handle with the kids. And I got my work done because when we do the podcast, now that we have the visuals and everything like that, I do the editing. So I have to edit it. I have to, load it up to YouTube, write up the, what is it called? The summary of the episode as far as like, what is it? Yeah. I can't think of the word.
I know what you're talking about. The summary of it. Yeah.
The description. And, when we have special guests, I need to compile all of their information and give a little bio for the guests and make sure everything's there. So, and we're recording several episodes. So I have to do a few of them and then writing out the next plan for the next episode. And I have a lot of people that want to be guests. So I'm like interviewing people before I have them on the show. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's just like a whole situation. And I don't have anybody yet that does all of that for me. So a lot of times after we're done, I'm going from one thing to the next. And then I'm still working on launching my essential oils line. So I'm like nonstop. So today it was excellent. And then I even got to a point where I said, you know what, let me just go ahead and save some for tomorrow so I can sit here with my family and enjoy my kids. So it was actually nice asking for help.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes. So someone asked a great question, Ricardo. How many episodes are in the Not for Lazy Mom season? So this year is our first season where we're going to be year round. So y'all aren't getting rid of us at all. So we'll probably take breaks for holidays and we'll do like a summer break. We'll do spring break, summer break, but we're going to be year round from here on out. So I'm really excited. The first season was 12 episodes. The second season was 16 episodes. Now we have some serious sponsors that would love to see us go year round in order to secure those deals. So we are going to do just that.
We're doing it.
Yeah. Everything is starting to work out. Thanks for asking that. So make sure y'all spread the word, catch up on season 1 and 2. The episodes are amazing. Like I'm really proud of what this community stands for and how things have been progressing. So yes. Oh, this is a good question. Do you guys let people keep your kids? My friends are being hard on me because I'm not ready to go out without my baby. Me and my husband have had the discussion and he feels the same. You want me to answer or you want to go first?
So it's funny. Oh gosh, I'm so with you because I have a hard time leaving my kids. I really, really do. My husband is the one that's like, we need to get out. And, it's not even for a week or a day. He's like, can we just get out for like an hour? So we have, for my marriage. And I find once I leave the house, I'm okay with the situation. Do you know what I mean? It's just that buildup of like, is everything going to be okay? Will everything
watching
behave? Yeah. Who watches them?
Yeah.
So my in-laws do, which is very helpful.
That's a different situation. Now,
but I will say I've had babysitters. I've had babysitters a couple times, but it's always people that I know they'll listen to because they're teachers at their school or it's the assistant at the daycare. So it's people within our circle. I've never used somebody from like a care.com. So, and I don't know if I'd be okay with it. So yeah.
Listen, do you guys let people keep your kids? Heck, no. I'm not that trusting of people. Point blank, period. There's too many crazy folks in this world that look like they are normal people and they have issues. And I'd be darned if anybody comes and does anything to my child that will ruin their future, their mental stability, or anything else. So when me and my husband say we are hands-on parents, there's a reason. So the one person that we do trust, we have a nanny who comes from 10:30 to 4:30. We've known her for over 5 years. She's amazing. But even then, I got cameras all the way around my house.
Well, what about when you guys go to an event or to dinner? I mean, do you use your nanny?
Yeah, that's what we use. And if she's not available, we can't come.
Right. And that's where I agree with you. Like to me, if it's my in-laws or somebody who teaches at their school, or I don't know, but I remember growing up, like I'd always have random babysitters. I guess it's just a different time now though.
It really is. But even back then, the same, like my parents wouldn't really let us go anywhere. We didn't do sleepovers and all that type of stuff. We don't do that now. My kids ain't sleeping over nobody's house unless it's my mom. That's about it. But even then, like my mom lives in Florida. So my mom is the one person who I completely trust and can leave my kids with, but not with everybody. No. And then Ask Aunt Niecy made a good point, especially being a public figure. That's absolutely right. And I've even had times where, when we're filming, first of all, we had to get a nanny because we started filming. The young lady who we use, I've known her even before because she would allow us to have, date nights, or when we started out, it was more so I'm at home doing work and I'm sitting right there next to her while she's holding the baby. And then once I got to the point where I could be comfortable, then it was like, okay, I'm gonna go to the store. I'll be right back. All of that. She loves my kids like they're hers. It's hard to find that. And I'm in no rush to find anyone else because it's just hard. It's hard to find people that will care for your kids the way that you care for them and to make sure that they're safe. And I know one thing that I was told when I had my first son was, you are responsible for how your child's life turns out. That hit me like a ton of bricks. And I was like, wow, that's deep. And I take it very seriously. I cover my kids. I pray for them constantly. I'm like, whew, those are my gifts. That is what God gave me. Those were my miracles. And I do not take that lightly. I don't take being a mom lightly. And I'd be darned if I have somebody rush me to find somebody to watch my kids. and then some craziness goes on, you know? So yeah, you stick to your guns. And, you know, unfortunately, for people who may not have had kids, they don't understand. And I can say that because when I did not have kids, I couldn't understand why my friends who had kids couldn't just go find somebody. I just did not get it. I was, oh, get somebody. You can afford a nanny, go buy a nanny. I didn't get it. But now after I have my kids, I'm like, whoa, this is like not easy. So yeah.
I will tell you something that my husband and I have done a couple times. If you're able to do this, you know, and I know right now it's hard because many schools are closed and things like that, but we'll have lunch together. And because we know our kids are, you know, either at daycare with the nanny, they're somewhere during the day. So we'll kind of have a lunch date and we'll make that have our time together.
Yeah. And even, yeah, I can include the kids. I give people heads up all the time. Like, look, I don't mind hanging out, but I got to bring my kids. Or I really want to get out by myself and I don't feel like bringing my kids. So no, I'll just stay home. Jane of Roses, my child goes to no one's house, not even sleeping, not even sleepovers or nothing, no one. And I don't blame you for that. And I don't even do play dates. I don't do drop-offs. You ain't dropping your kid off over here. When we have birthday parties, we always make sure that there are parties where the adults can have a good time and the kids can have a good time and enjoy themselves. But you ain't dropping your kid off and leaving. Nope. Mm-hmm. You ain't about to be accusing me and my husband of nothing, trying to sue us for nothing. So I don't even do drop-offs, but we do play dates and we're there. And most times it's me and my husband together. If it's a couple or if it's just me, you know, with another girlfriend, then, you know, we'll do it like that. But yeah, like I'm extra when it comes to my babies now. Yeah.
I didn't even know that drop-off birthdays were a thing until last year. Someone asked if Sam's birthday was a drop-off one. I'm like, excuse me? I'm not holding your kids.
Wow. Yes. But listen, this was great. We're over our time right now. And I see a lot of questions and comments still popping up. So next Wednesday, we're actually going to Allie is committed to something else. So we are going to have a special guest next week. So just make sure that you subscribe, hit that like button. Make sure you download the Not for Lazy Moms podcast. Get all your checks and balances. Follow us on social media. And we'll see y'all next week. Y'all have a good night. This has been great.
Good night.